methods of international payment settlement. So all that we have talked about is Foreign Exchange Management Act and Exchange Control Declaration, and then we talked about pre-shipment finance and post-shipment finance, and then we come to the last part, which is methods of international payment settlement. Now, this method is, we want to talk about these five: cash in advance, letter of credit, document against payment, document against acceptance, and open account. These are the five categories which are allowed by the government in India, government of India, for export and import. So these are the common payment terms. We're going to discuss them one by one. First one is the easiest one, cash in advance. You have got an order from the buyer. You say, sir, I don't have money, please give me some advance. The buyer gives you an advance. That is called cash in advance. Very simple. Receive cash from the buyer before shipping. It could be in terms of TT, which is telegraphic transfer. Telegraphic transfer is the same as today the digital transfer that we have. That is what was earlier called telegraphic transfer. And then it can also be through demand draft. Now, in case of so the money can come to you from the buyer through TT or through demand draft. The star mark is in case the buyer is making a huge payment in terms of advance. The buyer or the importer may ask you to give a bank guarantee. Let's say the buyer is, the shipment is of the value 100 rupees, and the buyer has given you 50 rupees, which is 50% advance. But the value could be a lot, could be a huge payment. So when the buyer gives you the 50 rupees advance, the buyer may say that you give me a bank guarantee of 50 rupees. The bank guarantee is just a piece of paper. You get the bank guarantee made from the bank, your bank. The bank will make the certificate, you are going to sign on it, and that bank guarantee will be given to the buyer. So the buyer is now a little secure that just in case you take that money and run away, you have given the bank guarantee. So the bank will have a legal recourse. They can legally sue you and take that money back. That's the first step. The last point, which has 2 stars, if the exporter is in a strong trading position and particular product is not available. Now, normally, you ask for cash in advance when, let's say, you are an exporter who is very strong, and the order that you are getting from the buyer is such a product which is either only being made by you, or it is such a product which is generally not available in the market, and you will be the first person to be making that product. So there's going to be a lot of R&D and a lot of uncertainty there. So in that case, you will say that, listen, this is the first time I will be making it. So please, I would require some cash in advance. So that's cash in advance, fairly simple. Then we come to the second one, which is the most important one for exporters or importers. Letter of credit, legendary letter of credit. It is a letter, just like bank guarantee. Now, letter of credit is a formal document of payment opened by a party wishing to import, communicated through banking channels, and paid by the opening bank within a specified time frame upon presentation of documents. Now, what is LC? The buyer gives you an order gives you an export order. You tell the buyer that, sir, please give me a letter of credit of that value. So let's say the value of the entire shipment will be 100 rupees. So the buyer will open a letter of credit of worth 100 rupees in their account. So let's say your buyer is in US. So your American buyer will open the letter of credit worth 100 rupees in their account, and that letter of credit will be signed by the buyer, and the buyer's bank will send that letter of credit to your bank. Your bank in India will give a photocopy of the letter of credit to you. Once you have the letter of credit, it means that your payment is secured. If you do everything on time, correctly, good quality, great actual quantity, everything as per what we have promised, and you have given the shipment on time, in that case, in no way can the buyer not pay. That much of money is blocked in the buyer's bank account, and that bank account will, and the bank will make the payment, even if the buyer does not want to make the payment. That is the beauty of letter of credit. So letter of credit is opened by the buyer in their own account, in their own bank, and their bank will send the letter of credit to your bank, and your bank will give the photocopy of the letter of credit to you. That is plain and simple letter of credit. parties to a letter of credit that we discussed. Importer is one, who is the opener of the letter of credit, and the bank which will make this letter of credit is the issuing bank. Exporter, which is you, who is the beneficiary of the letter of credit, and then there is an intermediary bank or a confirming bank. And your bank is either the intermediary bank or a confirming bank. Meaning to say, if your bank says, I am not going to take any guarantee of this LC, then your bank is just an advising or a notifying bank. It is only going to take the letter of credit and is going to give it to you. A confirming bank, your bank will be called a confirming bank if your bank takes the guarantee of that LC. That you don't worry, this LC is as good as gold, and you go ahead. Just in case the money does not come, I'll give them. So when your bank gives this kind of a guarantee, it's called a confirming bank. Where the bank adds its own undertaking to the credit while advising it to the beneficiary. So the third party is the intermediary, your bank, intermediate bank or a confirming bank. This is the letter of credit, the movement that you see over here. You get the order, the buyer will send the letter of credit through their bank to your bank. You make the shipment, send it across to you send the shipment through sea or air, and once the goods have been stuffed on board, you submit the shipping documents to your bank, and your bank is going to send the shipping documents to the buyer's bank. And the buyer's bank is going to release the payment to your bank, and your bank is going to put the money in your account. That is what has been shown in this picture over here. And this picture over here, and then the LC payment procedure is what I have explained to you in good time. And then we come to the document collection, which is the third and fourth. So I'll go back to this one. So first was cash in advance, second letter of credit. Now we're going to look at third and fourth, which is document against payment and document against acceptance. Now, document against payment and document against acceptance. Now, document against payment is the exporter makes the shipment and sends the shipment by sea or air. Then the exporter sends the shipping document to the bank. Your bank then sends the shipping documents to the importer's bank. The importer's bank, your bank will send the shipping document along with a collection letter to the importer's bank. So let's say the importer bank is, let's say, an American bank. Now the importer's bank, let's say Bank of America. The Bank of America is going to send a collection notice to the importer. The Bank of America, let's say, says Walmart that, sir, your shipping document has come. Please collect it. So Walmart will now have to make a payment to the bank. Only then the bank will give the collection notice to shipping documents to Walmart only after Walmart has made the payment. And then once Walmart gets the documents, then Walmart can get the goods cleared from the customs. So this is the entire procedure of document against payment. Fairly simple. And it is fairly very similar to letter of credit. Now the only problem over here is, if Walmart says, I will not take the document or I will not take the shipment, do whatever you want to. So Walmart in this case has not opened any kind of a letter of credit or bank guarantee. So in this case, you are stuck. You have sent the shipment and you have sent the shipping documents. Without the document, the buyer cannot clear the goods, but the buyer is not ready to take the document only. So in that case, you are stuck. Legally, you can't do anything about it. That was document against payment. Now, what are the problems that you may face in case of document against payment or document against acceptance is what we'll discussed in the subsequent slide. Right now, we're going to talk about document against acceptance. Whatever we discussed about document against payment, everything is the same over here in case of document against acceptance. The only difference is you send the shipment, you send the shipping documents along with the collection letter to your bank sends it to the buyer's bank. Now, in case of document against acceptance, the buyer's bank, Bank of America or American Bank, tells Walmart, sir, your documents have come. Please come and give the undertaking that you will make the payment in 1 month or 2 months or whatever. So in this case, Walmart comes to the bank, gives a letter of acceptance that yes, I will make the payment later on. So in this case, without payment, only giving the letter of acceptance, Walmart has taken the shipping documents, and then now the Walmart can get the goods released. Now after getting the goods released, let's say after a month or 2 months as agreed upon, Walmart says, I will not make the payment. Now what do you do? So in case of document against payment, Walmart will not be able to take the shipment without making the payment. In case of document against acceptance, Walmart will just give a letter of acceptance, take the shipping documents, get the goods released. This is going to be far more risky. So, DP and DA, they do not have any legal standing versus LC. LC has a legal sanctity. DA, DP don't have a legal sanctity. So, what are the risks under DP or DA? DP is if the buyer refuses to take the goods. DA is if the buyer has taken the goods and now refuses to make the payment. So, in this case, you may find yourself in under severe liquidity crunch. And you have also given this exchange control undertaking that you will definitely realize the payment in the 6 months. Now, if the payment does not come, RBI is going to breathe down your neck. You're going to make life miserable for you. That why hasn't the payment come? So this is very risky. And the problem in life is that when you get into exports, when you start as an exporter, when you talk to, obviously you will not be getting orders from big buyers. You will get orders from small buyers. And the small buyers, they will say that, we do not work in LC. We will only give you DP or DA. So if you come across half a dozen buyers who are ready to work with you, but they will not work on LC. They will only work on DP or DA. So in that case, what do you do? So in that case, you will not be able to take any orders because it's going to be very risky. So you send the shipment, they take the shipment and then they don't make the payment. Or you send the shipment, they refuse to take the delivery. In that case, there is EPCG, if you remember, in the initial section of this session, we have talked about ECGC, which was Export Credit Guarantee Council. It's an insurance agency which tells you that you tell the government, sir, I'm getting orders from buyers, but they are only ready to work on DP or DM. What do you? Government says, do not worry. Just tell me the name of the buyer. I'll do a credit check of this person. If the buyer is good, has not defaulted, and does not have a bad name, has not been known to be getting into fraudulent activities, we'll give you a green signal. We'll give you a green signal, and you will have to buy insurance from ECGC. So you buy the insurance from ECGC, and then you can, without any hitch, you can send shipment under DP or DA, whatever, not a problem. If the buyer does not pay, ECGC will pay, provided you show the proof that you have made all possible efforts to realize the payment, but the buyer is not ready to make the payment. You have sent them faxes, you have sent them emails, you have made a lot of phone calls, you have actually visited their office in their country, still they have not paid. So if you submit all these evidences that you have sent 25 emails, made phone calls and messages and everything, They've also visited over there, and still they are not responding, or they are saying they will not pay. You submit the proof, and ECGC is going to make the payment. You don't have any risks. So what I'm saying is that Government of India says that despite the most difficult situation of the world, you export, we are there behind you. Any kind of problem that you may face, we'll take care of it. Anything that goes wrong, we'll take care of it. But if you don't do things on time, you make mistakes, you don't do good quality, you delay the shipment, that is your problem. Government is not going to get into that. But other than that, you have fulfilled your promise. Other than that, we'll take care of everything. So Government of India says, you just say, yes, I want to export. I'll give you anything. That's the kind of support that Government of India gives to the exporters. So DP and DA, okay, now, if the buyer has taken the goods and is not paying, this you should work under DA, document against acceptance, only when you have bought insurance from ECGs. In case of DP, what you can do is, in case the buyer is not ready to accept the shipment, then renegotiate with the importer. The moment an importer says, I will not take, first indication is they want discount. So offer them discounts. If they say fine, 5%, 10% discount, please go ahead, give the discount, finish it off. Give the discount and sell it off to the buyer. With a pinch of salt, the next time you will not work with this importer. Second is, bring the goods back to India. What is wrong with bringing the goods back to India? You have sent the shipment there. Buyer is not ready to take the shipment. You will have to pay for the freight from India to that country. And now you will have to pay the freight from that country to India. And where you haven't gained anything. You just paid the freight for to and fro. And then you sell it in India, like Chandni Chowk, or sell it in Sarojini Nagar or Fashion Street in Mumbai. Or look for an alternate importer in the same country. Best would be same country. If you send something to London and one buyer has refused to take it, try to find another buyer in London only, so that because the goods are already lying over there. If you get another importer and the importer says, fine, give me a great price, I'll buy it, sell it to that person. If you don't get an alternate importer in the same country, then look for another country. So if you get another buyer in another country, shift these goods from country A to country B. Or if you are enterprising enough, go to the importer country, go to London and sell the goods locally. That also can be done, has been done sometimes. Maybe you as an exporter send your representative, maybe Rajinder Singh or whatever. Please go to that country and sell it over there. And the last one is, you can't do anything, abandon the goods. Unless you abandon the goods, the country where your goods are lying, they are going to start charging for the demurrage. So at an early stage itself, you have to tell that the customs over there that that your buyer has not made the payment, is not ready to accept the shipment. So please auction it off. So abandon the goods, so that I don't have to spend another penny on this shipment. Whatever loss has been incurred is incurred, but nothing more than that. These are the possible options. But this is only when this is what you will be doing. That is only after taking the insurance from ECGs. Okay, so precaution, if you are working on DA or DP, the precaution that you should take is obtain credit report on importer through bank. Any bank can, there are a lot of banks who can do credit report immediately within 5 days. Any bank that, any buyer that you have come across and you don't know how good or bad this buyer is, simply tell a bank about this buyer and tell them that please get me the credit report of this buyer or this importer. So for a charge of about 5,000 rupees, you'll get the details about the credibility of the buyer. And that's one precaution. Second is, consign the goods to the importer's bank instead of the importer. Consigning it means you write it on the document that the owner of the goods is the bank, the buyer's bank, not the buyer. So that when you send the goods, the authority of getting the goods released live with the bank. Only when the importer has made the payment to the bank, only then the importer can get the documents and then get the delivery. And third, very important is you should definitely buy the credit risk insurance policy, which is given by ECGC. So these are the precautions that you should take. When you come to the last part of this session, which is open account. Now, open account means that buyers pay the cost of the goods after goods have been shipped by the buyer. The open account is the most horrible payment method for an exporter. What it actually means is that we have sent the goods, and the buyer says that I'll sell the goods, and once when I'm able to sell the goods, then I'll send the money. It's like consignment basis. So open account means that buyer pay the cost of goods after goods have been shipped by the supplier. In an international trade transaction, open account defines as a sale where the goods are shipped and were delivered before payment is due, and which is usually in 30 or 60 days. Now, open account possesses highest risk to the exporter and the lowest risk to the importer. So the worst thing is to work on open account. Again, the government says, you want to work on open account, fine, go ahead. Tell me the name of the buyer, I'm going to do the credit risk check, and if everything is okay, I'll give you the go ahead. Buy insurance and then go ahead with the execution of the order. So if you can see risk versus terms of payment, open account is the worst for the exporter but the best for the buyer. And similarly, on the other end of the spectrum, cash in advance is best for the exporter but the worst for the importer, and likewise the rest of the terms of payment. And then there is comparison of various payment methods which you can read. Cash in advances, goods are made available to the buyer after payment. The usual time of payment is before the shipment, the payment has been made because it's called cash in advance. And risk to the exporter is very low, but then the risk to the importer is very high. And this is cash in advance is only done when the buyer and exporter they have very good relation. Only then such a thing would happen that the buyer gives cash in advance. Similarly, the other comparisons have been given. Fairly easy to understand. You can read it in time. So that brings us to the end of this session.